What's going on, everybody? How are we doing? We are live, you guys. So, we are talking about Tuesday, and Tuesday meaning it is about nutrition. And today is something that we all more than likely struggle with meal prepping, right? And how it can be easier to meal prep and help you with achieving the goals that you want and that you set you for yourself for meal prepping, right? It is always hard and to think about what to make. It is always hard to adjust and make sure that what you are doing and what you are eating is better for you and your family. And remember, it takes time, right? So we're gonna go over a few things. But first, I want to share a story. It's actually kind of funny, and it made Tiana laugh really hard. Tiana's my wife. So we had these little toddler chairs, and Langston always wants me to sit in it. So I was sitting in it and I was sitting there ordering stuff from him and giving him macaroni and cheese at his little food truck. And all of a sudden he needed to get some water. So I went to grab the water. And what's going on? I went to grab the water, and then all of a sudden the chair just broke underneath me and I fell back and all the water flew up everywhere and I ran, and then I ended up kicking Langston in the leg, and then he got scared because I fell. So he's crying and water is everywhere. My wife is laughing because I just fell out of it. I just fell. Like I didn't even do anything. I just was just sitting there in that little chair. And then all of a sudden, bam, the chair broke and I was on the floor. And the water was everywhere. It was pretty funny. It was pretty funny. I was just like, what just happened? But anywho, I'm just waiting for more people to hop on in. Well, if you are just joined in, hashtag I'm here. If you're watching the replay, I hope you got some. I hope that was funny for you. I like to start out with a funny story. But right, it was awesome. Yes, it was true. It was true. I just fell out of the chair. I just like broke the whole thing, was like whoosh, and I went whoa and fell. So luckily it wasn't like one of the big chairs. Our big chairs are metal, so if that definitely fell, I'd have been like, all right, I've been putting on some muscle. Made me feel a little better. But whatever. Today we're talking about meal preps tips and making it easy for you. Lawsuit, yes, lawsuit. I'm gonna sue. I told my family, because everybody was on FaceTime, so Tiana is just laughing. They're like, "What happened?" It's like Isaac's just sitting here, and then all of a sudden he fell because the chair broke, and so everybody's like, "Whoa!" And I just told them, like, man, we need to get some chairs that have like a limit a little bit heavier than what I am now. So so it all works. I mean, we've been sitting on it for a while. We've had them for a while, so I'm sure that it was about time they let go. Well, anyways, you guys, so meal prepping tips made easy. Thank you again for joining in. I love seeing all you guys and providing you as much value as I can. And remember, meal prepping tips. Everything that you probably see and you've heard or you've tried it, I've heard it all. It just takes too much time. It takes a lot of energy. And oh my gosh, I have to devote like 4 to 5 hours of cooking and meal prepping on a Sunday for the whole week. And it just doesn't work for them, right? It just doesn't work. And how many of you have done that? How many of you has it taken 4 to 6 hours to make all the meals and all of the snacks, getting everything prepared for the whole week? Well, one, I'm definitely not dedicating 4 to 6 hours of cooking on a Sunday I, at 4 or 5 in the morning to get me prepared and be done by 10 a.m. to go ahead, and I already wake up too early on the weekdays, and that's something that I wouldn't dedicate to doing that long, right? I dedicate an hour to an hour and a half of working out, so I would want to do the same for meal prepping. So it just means that I can do it, get it done, and it would be easier to do, right? So the number one thing is make it work for you, right? Just make it work. and think about how much time you have and how can you get as much done in that hour to an hour and a half or 45 minutes. How are you going to be able to do meal prepping that quick? Well, I've got some tips for you, and they're pretty easy, real easy. All right. So it doesn't have to take long. I know we get caught up in seeing all these Instagram and Facebook and TikToks about, oh, look at all these meals I made. And it's like a row of a ton of meals. And I'm sure that they didn't put a lot of time into it. They're just making simple things and putting it all batched in. But they look really elaborate. And sometimes when we try those things, it's like a fail. And then all of a sudden we're like, how did they get that done in an hour? And how come it took me 4? This is nuts. This is crazy. Why did it take so long? But we're going to go over some things that can help you specifically in trying to make time that fits for you for meal prepping, right? That helps you still have time, your time, because obviously this is not like you're getting paid for it. You're taking your own time to make all your meals or a meal or whatever you're trying to meal prep for, right? So, number one, meal prepping for the hardest meal you have the hardest time getting in or eating during the work week, right? So think really hard about this one. Is it breakfast that you have a hard time getting into because you wake up maybe and you're just so exhausted? You had a long night, you had a long day yesterday, and then all of a sudden your sleep is just off. And now you are getting up really late, and then all of a sudden you don't have time for breakfast, right? Is that the hardest meal of the day that you're getting in? So if that is, then you'll meal prep for that meal and that meal only. And I wouldn't meal prep for 7 days. Meal prep for 3 days. 3 days. So then you don't get bored and you're like, oh, well, then I'm not eating breakfast anymore because I don't have time for it. So, and usually, you guys, if you do for 7 days, that 7 days, some of your meals don't last that long and they end up going bad. So end up putting them in the freezer, whatever you got to do. And then sometimes you forget to bring them out of the freezer. And then all of a sudden now you're back to where you started and it's like, oh, what am I going to eat now? And I got to wait for it to defrost and I can take hours and I'm back at lunch and I'm still skipping breakfast. Or is it lunch that you're having the hardest time? You're working and then all of a sudden you find that you don't have time to actually get your lunch in. So meal prep for your lunch. Or is it your dinner? You get home, you have to take the kids here, you have to do this errand, and then all of a sudden you're taking the kids to their karate lessons or their wrestling matches or their band rehearsals, or you have to get the dogs in the house, you have to go take them for a walk, or you have to do this and you have to do this and you have all this other stuff after work, and now all of a sudden dinner is being missed and you're going to go out to eat anyways, right? Not saying that is a bad thing to go out to eat. I'm just saying that right now we're talking about meal prepping. So meal prep for the hardest meal that you end up missing the most. So there is whether, like once you figure that out, let me see here. I'm trying to read what I wrote down. So I'm losing it just for a second here. Not perfect. Okay, once you figured out what meal you tend to miss, then cooking throughout the week will be a little bit easier, right? There you have it. That is one meal that you have to meal prep for. So now you're not as stressed. Now you're able to get in that meal each time. You're feeling a lot more energetic and you're feeling more focused because now you have calorie intake, right? And there's also another cool thing called meal prep, right? They have meal prepping restaurants, they have meal prepping agencies where you can look them up online and it's super convenient. Of course, it's going to be more than what you'd pay. So if you're trying to stay reasonable within a money budget and you do the math and say, let's say a meal prepping agency that has $6 to $7 meals, which isn't really that expensive. It's actually pretty cheap. And they have a ton of protein, really good carbohydrates, and they also have your great number of fats, right? So if you can do the math and you're shopping for all the things and they end up coming out to the same amount and you don't have to make it, maybe go ahead and see which meals you like the most from the meal prepping agency, right? Or the meal prepping restaurant. I really don't know what they're called. It's just like a meal prep service. There you go, meal prep service. So meal prepping agency. Wow. Anyways, so find one of those that can help make it even more convenient. So now all you got to do is just pick your meals, wait until they make it, then they could either deliver it to you or man, I need another coffee, you guys. Or then they can deliver it to you guys, right? Or you can go pick it up. Deliver fees, whatever is easiest for you. They have convenience, you guys. You don't have to even cook. You can just have somebody else do it. And if you're very busy, this would be a really great option for you because now you don't even have to worry about what am I going to eat? What am I going to make? I don't even have to go on Pinterest. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do this. Now all I have to do is just look at the meals that are already provided on their website or whatever they make. Pick one or two, and most of them, they have them in singles, so you can go try them out first and see if you like them, and then you can order the ones that you really do like the most. So that is one thing that can help you. That is one thing that can help you stay on track is finding a meal prep service that can already make the meals for you. Super easy. If you're busy like me, that's something that is absolutely the number one thing I would rather pay a little bit more for because I don't have to do it. Some days I just don't want to cook. And I know that's most of you. You have your kids, and then all of a sudden now the kids want to go out to eat, and you're like, well, I don't have anything to eat, so let me just order two. But if you want to limit yourself from ordering out to eat at more fast food restaurants, this is an option as well. All right, so that's number one, is just meal prep for the hardest meal that you end up skipping or missing a lot of, right? So number two, meal prep doesn't always have to be meals, right? The second one is going to go over meal prepping all of your veggies, your fruits, and all of your condiments for the whole week by cutting and washing and putting them in containers so they're already ready for you to either grab and go or throw them into a pan or the oven on the stove or in the oven to cook, fry, whatever you and your heart's desire for your meals. So now all of a sudden, you're only taking an hour to cut, wash, and do everything on that day. So that is meal prepping all of your veggies, all of your fruits to be prepared for the meals that you have planned for the week, right? And this will allow you to save so much time because you already have them. You already have them cut, you already have them washed. Or you can just buy the frozen, or you can even buy, there's so many convenient things out there, you guys. So it may be a little bit more for the ones that are already washed and cut for you that they already have in their own containers at the stores. They're fresh, or as what we know, but we all pretty sure that most of it is fresh. So make sure that you look at some of those convenient options. So if you don't want to cut, I don't like cutting fruits. I don't mind it. I don't like cutting all of the big fruits like the watermelons or pineapples. They just take way too much time. Strawberries okay, blackberries don't even do. Blueberries, they're just handfuls. You just eat them, right? So things like strawberries, if you want them cut, or your pineapples, or your watermelons, or your cantaloupe, or your melons, anything like that, you can buy already done. Or if they're frozen, you can just wait for them. I like them frozen because then you can just have them thawed out and eat them while you are at your desk or where you are working conveniently. Or if you're on the road and it is where you can wait for them. You don't eat right away. That's one snack that you can do if you're always driving, and put it in your cup holder and just let them thaw out and then just eat on the way there. So then there is your snacks, right? You already have it. You already good. It's already done. And now you're eating fresh fruits and fresh vegetables throughout the day to provide you with more vitamins and minerals and fibers to help you stay feeling energized, right? So this is one thing that I always remember is work smarter, not harder, right? So this goes perfectly for meal prepping. You always want to find the easiest option and the most convenient option. Sometimes it's a little bit more of a spending, but you're going to get a lot out of it. And you're always going to be staying on your meal track. All right. So number 3 is also meal prepping can mean that you organize meals, right? That you want to make throughout the week, or when you're making each meal, you can make up to 4 to 5 times as much. So then you're making enough for the next 4 to 5 days of meals, or AKA leftovers, right? So this is something that I usually do because it only takes the time that I'm cooking. I don't want to dedicate a whole day to do it, but if I'm already cooking and I'm already doing the work at the moment, I don't see that as a big issue. So then what goes on in my head is that, okay, I'm already cooking, might as well just put some more in, and then I can meal prep or have leftovers for the next 3 or 4 days. So then that's a meal, right? So being able to find the easiest way that works best for you, and it's going to keep you on track, and it's going to help you say, I'm not skipping any meals because I'm too busy. I'm not skipping any meals because I have to take my kids here. I'm not skipping any meals because I already have a plan. I already made this much. I brought it with me and I'm just going to eat it. So make things that are easy, like single pot meals, just throw it all in, or crock pot meals, things like that that you can eat cold or that you can warm up in a microwave that's convenient somewhere, right? Anywhere that you can do that. So also, just make it work for you guys. Don't think that you have to make this elaborate meal. Make it super simple. It can be spaghetti, everybody. Like literally, that is a meal that is quick, that you can make a ton of servings with, depending on how old your kids are, because they probably will eat it all. But so you have to account for, and it's not that expensive, right? You can do like 3 pounds of really, really lean ground beef. You can do chicken or whatever your heart desires. You make it. The noodles aren't very expensive. Now, if you want to make more traditional, or if you want to add more protein noodles, that's something that you'll have to account for with your budget of how much you want to spend. So that's just up to you, right? So number 3, you can do one meal that you're already making for dinner and just make it 4 to 5 times more servings. So then all of a sudden you are good to go with leftovers, right? You're good to go with leftovers. So other than that, that is number 3. And number 4 is make a plan of what meals you are going to be making throughout the week. So keeping you organized, such as I'm going to be making Mondays, dinner time. We'll be doing chili, right? Or Tuesdays, Taco Tuesdays, always Taco Tuesdays. Or you can move that to Thursdays, whatever your heart desires, or you can do Pizza Wednesdays, things like that. Or you can also say, you know what, by Thursday, I usually just don't want to cook. So that's always going to be a day that we're going to go out to eat, or we're going to order out. And then that can be scheduled in your plan. So then you're already made a plan, like Thursdays are our busiest day. I'm not going to want to cook. I'm not going to want to meal prep, but I know I'm not going to have enough meals for the rest of the week. So I do need to buy this, or I can just go out to eat and then meal prep the next day. So make it work for you guys. This is all based on your schedule, on what you really want to do, what you really want to accomplish. And I hope these tips have helped you, because number one, meal prep the hardest meal that you're always missing, or that you have a hard time, or you just don't want to cook it, right? 2, meal prep all your veggies by cutting, washing, and or your fruits by cutting those, getting them in Tupperwares, ready to grab and go and just take with you. You can use your frozen. You can also use the fresh cut stuff that's already done for you. Remember, going to meal prep services, they can also be convenient by stopping by, grabbing one, tasting, a meal prepped already that you like, and then you can order more. They can either be delivered to you or you can go and pick it up at the store. Make it even easier, right? Right? Always work smarter, not harder, you guys. So, number 3, if you're making a meal that can make a lot of servings, make as many servings as possible. So you can have some for the next 4 days, the next 3 days, the next 2 days, whatever works best for you, just have it planned out. And then number 4, have a plan and organize what meals are for what days, for dinner, for lunch, for breakfast. That's going to help you feel a little bit more organized and also less stressed because you already have a plan. All right, fam. I hope that this has helped you on your journey. Meal prepping doesn't have to be extremely hard. It doesn't have to be stressful. And you don't have to dedicate 4 to 6 hours every Sunday to meal prep 21 meals, right? You can just do 3 meals. You can do 1 meal. You can just pick 1 meal that you have the hardest time getting and make that only. Or just do all your breakfasts, right? Whatever works best for you is going to help you stay on track with your nutrition, also with your caloric intake, and see more results. You're going to see more results. If you're skipping meals, if you are if you're skipping meals, and if you are focused on trying to be eating, if you're trying to eat less, remember that you may not see as many results as if you keep feeding your body the necessary fruits, the necessary complex carbohydrates such as fruits and vegetables, such as your lean meats and your healthy fats. So make sure you're using all of those. And don't feel bad about having things, right? Don't feel bad. Feel good about the meals that you're eating. So this is a way to help you feel better about the meals that you're consuming, the food that you're consuming, because you're making it all at home. All right, fam. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful Tuesday evening. I love all of you so much. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you again tomorrow. Have a good evening. Bye. Let me get you out of here. Bam. I'm going to go ahead and leave it open a little bit here for questions if you guys have it. I hope you guys I hope that was of value to you guys. I know that a lot of it is kind of overwhelming when you look at meal prepping in general. It's just like, what is happening? Like, why are we doing so much? What is it that we can make easiest? And how can we make this work for me, right? So making it easier, making it fit your schedule is always going to help you at your time. All right, fam. It looks like nobody's coming up. So have a wonderful evening, and I will see you again tomorrow. Bye.